All right, Unit 0, Worksheet 4, draw the tiles for the following problems and simplify where possible. So this is the opposite. And to speed this up a little bit, I'm going to be pausing and starting so that I can draw the shapes when you're not having to listen to me. All right, so 2x plus negative 3x. This one I think I'll just go ahead and let you watch me. Plus 2x plus negative 3x and we're going to shade those in. And we can cancel our zero pairs. So we cross that one out with that one, and that one out with that one. And we're left with a negative 1x, or negative x. Now this would be the same even if this was 2x minus 3x. You would still do the same exact thing, right? Okay, so next one. I'm going to go ahead and pause it and draw these. All right, so we have our 3x plus 2x plus negative 2. And I can combine these two, because they're the same thing, right? Combine those two, and I simplify and I get 5x plus negative 2, or just minus 2. All right, on the next one, I have an x squared. It's positive, so it's open. And then negative 3x, and then 1 positive x. So these are the same, so I can cancel out my zero pairs. And I'm left with an x squared. There was nothing I could add to the x squared. And then I added these two, but since the signs are different, you subtract and keep the bigger sign, plus negative 2x. Or most mathematicians would just go ahead and write this as minus 2x. But either way is correct. All right, on number 4, we have our x squared and our 2 negative x squares and our 3 negative x's. So these are the same thing, so we can cancel out our zero pairs. So here we would, the signs are different, so we subtract and keep the bigger sign. So it's negative 1x squared, or just negative x squared. And there's nothing I can do with this, so I just write it down, minus 3x. And remember, you could write plus negative 3x, and that would be the same. For number 5, all right, we have our negative 2x, positive 4x, our negative 4, and our positive 3. So we can cancel out our zero pairs. And I'm left with 2 positive x's. Same thing if I just do it this way. I add 4 and negative 2. Signs are different, so I subtract and keep the bigger sign. And then I'm going to add these. I'm going with the tiles. I cancel out my zero pairs, and I'm left with negative 1. So I subtract and keep the bigger sign. And that's it. Okay, I'm going to leave number 6 for you to do. Okay, so now on our multiplication, remember we do the multiplications like a multiplication table, right? So we have 2 positives, and then 2 x's, and 1 positive. All right, so this is 2 times 2x plus 1. And I drew it together like that because then all I have to do is connect my lines and not draw all the little boxes, which can be kind of annoying. So if I just do the outside edge and then fill in all the lines and then do any shading I need to do, then it's a lot faster than drawing all the boxes. Okay, so we see that the 2 times 2x plus 1, we end up with 4 x's and 2 1's. And if we're doing this with distributive property, without the tiles, you have 2 times 2x is 4x. 2 times 1 is 2. All right, the next one I'm going to go ahead and pause to draw. All right, so we have our -3 here and our x minus 2 here. And we just go ahead and finish all of our lines. So I do the outside edge and draw in all my lines. All right, and then I have to worry about my shading. So a negative times a positive is a negative, so these are going to be negative. But a negative times a negative is a positive, so all these are going to be positive. So from our drawing, we end up with -3x plus 6. If we look at our distributive property, we get the same thing. So -3 times x is -3x. -3 times -2 is +6. All right, I'm going to pause and draw the next one. Okay, so we have our -1 times -2x plus 3. So all we do is we finish the outside edge here, finish our little rectangle, and then just draw in all our lines. Then we have to check our signs. So negative times a negative is a positive, and a negative times a positive is a negative. So we have, it's 2x minus 3. If we do our distributive property, -1 times -2 is +2x. -1 times +3 is -3. And again, you could do plus negative, but most mathematicians are going to just leave this as -3. All right, I'll do one more with you, and then I'll leave the last two for you to do. All right, so we have our -2x over here, and then we have our x plus 2. So if we just draw our outside edge, and then fill in all our lines, we see, and I didn't draw these the same exact length, that you would see that that is actually a square. We have 2x squared. Oh, I didn't do my signs, I'm sorry. So negative times a positive is a negative, and a negative times a positive is a negative, so all these are going to be negative as well. So we can see from our table we get -2x squared minus or plus -4x, which is minus 4x. If I do my distributive property, -2 times 1 is -2, but x times x is x squared. -2 times 2 is -4, but it's not just a -4, there's an x there, so it's x. All right, I'm going to leave the last two for you to do. If you have any trouble, ask your neighbors, or stop me and ask me. You should be able to do it now, though.